Hello! And welcome to Painting Happy Little Minis! My name is Leona.
And I'm Dave.
And we are here to paint minis, have fun, look blankly into the camera.
I'm going to look everywhere but the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
The camera is the dullest place in this room to look at.
Thanks for joining us. So I am here again filling in for our dear friend Gretchen, who is away. And this week, we are in the month of March. We are going to be painting up frameworks. So I previewed those in our last episode, which was in February, because I was sick last week. Not with the COVID, but with just a winter cold. So I'm feeling much better, which is great. And now, and last week, or 2 weeks ago, I showed off some of our frameworks. And so we are going to be painting up Dave is painting the Minotaur, and I will be building and assembling the Minotaur. So hopefully you guys will be able to see. I'll just make it different than Dave's, I think, is the
way to go.
The way to go.
Sure.
We're going to make it different than Dave's. So.
Yep.
Yes, thank you all for joining. It's good to see JT and Jason. Is it Thursday yet? Ashlyn, life is complete again. And Sean, hello. Thanks for joining. It's always lovely to hang out with you guys on this fine Thursday, well, for us, evening.
Yep.
Who knows where people join in from?
It is Friday morning in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Already.
Send us the lottery numbers. That's on my friend. She lived in New Zealand for a while, and that's where we would joke every time.
Big joke, yeah.
Every time, the big joke.
And then would she send you the numbers from Lost? Like every time, punch in these numbers.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll win the lottery.
So the frameworks models are, as you guys might know, they're the D&D set that are coming from Wizkids, and they are also on sprues, the new sprued.
Hence the frame.
Hence the frame works.
That's a frame in wax. Yep.
And so I lost my train of thought. But
sorry,
Dave. What was your experience in building it?
Also,
I want to pop up our names because here's our logo. These are the things I can't do while I'm talking and trying to intro the show.
So I will just talk. So Leona is going to put up our names if she can find them.
Yeah.
Nope.
I thought my name was really funny. I said, "You're a wizard, Harry."
You're a wizard, Harry. Fantastic.
And Dave's are just Dave.
It's just that Dave element.
It's just Dave.
Boring.
It's fine.
Yep.
And I'll fix Dave's camera real quick.
Yep. Look at that.
Ta-da!
Woohoo! I might put these inside there.
So what was your experience in
putting them together?
Yeah.
Basically, so for me, it was just like working with any other sprued miniature.
Nice.
I have been fortunate enough to use a lot of.
Don't worry, I'm gonna move the. Okay.
So I think everything. Kind of the way that it's cut, the miniature is cut, kind of makes sense. I'm not going to use this as an exception, but it's something to be careful of. Is sometimes things like the hair on this guy. Right. He's got big it's a big mane, really, down behind the horns, and you might be tempted to glue the horns on first. And then glue the two pieces of hair that go over his back second. What you'll find if you do that is that you won't be able to fit them in underneath the horns. Unless you're doing it all at the same time, and then you can realize and you can lift the horns up.
Gotcha.
If you're using plastic glue, slide the hair in and then put the horns back in over the top.
Okay.
So definitely pay attention to the instructions.
The build and the Okay.
Maybe do a dry fit of the build.
Okay.
So somebody like myself who has put together a lot of miniatures might just race ahead and ignore the instructions or the dry fitting, thinking they know better. But it's not always the case. That's what I'm going to say. So
that's awesome.
Yep, that's what I would suggest there. So, but otherwise, yeah, I think very cool mean, he's really beautiful sculpts. The character on the face of this guy is great.
Yes.
So
He has some good expressions.
yeah, definitely.
So I'm going to be assembling,
Assembling.
this miniature, as long as I don't make pieces run away.
One thing I'd definitely suggest, if you haven't done a lot of work clipping things from sprues before, is the temptation might be to hold the sprue and clip the piece.
Okay,
away.
yeah, that's what I was just doing. So tell me, what's the
I would
better way?
recommend hold the piece
Okay,
and clip.
and clip.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
because the tail almost fell on the ground.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you will find that if you don't hold onto the piece or don't have your hands near it, that it will fly across the room.
Yeah.
And many is the tale of grey pieces of plastic clipped from sprues flying across the room on bizarrely grey carpet, never to be found again. Until the next time you're vacuuming, and you don't see it, you vacuum, and then you hear it go up the tube. And it's like, but of course, a great solution there is, if you know roughly where it is, you can get a vacuum and you can get the vacuum tube and put
a cloth
some,
or whatever.
some pantyhose over the
Okay,
end,
yeah.
and you can find it that way.
Nice.
Not saying I've ever done these things.
But you knew somebody who has.
Yes.
I'm sure.
I'm aware of somebody who has do those things.
Also, hello to James and Dave Hummel. Thanks for joining.
Hello, James.
And
hello,
Betsy Bowser.
Hello, Betsy.
Bowers. Betsy, I may have called you Betsy Bowsers in my head before.
Right.
James was asking, was asking, do the frameworks have pegs to fit into the base?
These ones do not.
Yeah,
The Minotaur doesn't.
Yeah, the Minotaur does not. The base, it just has a textured base.
Yep.
And then the feet are flat.
I'm trying to remember back to I think the
heroes
four characters
did not.
Did not? Okay. There we go.
I can double check if you want.
That's cool.
They're right up over there.
That's fine.
But yeah, the heroes did not as well.
So I think we'll say that the standard is no. So they just probably have they got flat feet.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Makes it easier to put them on whatever base you like. Either the textured base they come with or the flat base they come with.
Yeah, so they do come with two bases.
Yep.
Or in my case, you add, for this guy, I actually, because I primed up one of the orc multi-pack.
Okay.
In case I wanted to do some painting later on in the show. And I actually I put him on the textured base and then put that textured base on top of the flat base.
Yep.
So that it's like, it has a really nice bottom. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do or not, if you don't have to, but...
I think that's the intent.
Okay. Because to me, I'm like, now it's actually can stand on a thing, so...
Yeah. I think that's the intent, but of course you're
Ooh,
free to do whatever you
Dave
like.
Hummel says, Leona is doing my favorite part of the hobby.
Assembly.
Who else enjoys assembly in the chat? You do?
I enjoy assembly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For some reason, I always thought you did not like assembly.
Oh, no. Well, I don't know. I guess basic assembly.
Okay, right.
It's not my favorite part.
Gotcha.
I do enjoy converting, so that involves a lot of assembly. So
assembly.
Yeah. Blanket statements are difficult.
I love assembly.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're not that difficult, right? Okay.
Oh, hi, Jez. Evening.
Evening,
Got
Jazz.
you on whilst I draw hairs. I've pinged a lot of heads off sprues into the magical void.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because isn't it Wayland's beard or something like that? You know the...
Oh, yeah, Yanlo's.
Yanlo's.
Yanlo's beard is the classic one from
Weird.
But
Wayland.
No,
It was close.
It's okay. But yes.
Betsy says that's not the first time for the Bowsers.
All right.
I'm going to call your family the Bowsers.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
All right, I will not.
Jason says, so we'll get a tutorial on making screw goo. I'm thinking
Sprue-goo?
that he might mean sprue goo.
Oh, sprue goo.
So sprue goo is essentially where you get, you can squeeze out some plastic cement
Okay.
and put little bits of sprue, clipped up sprue in it, mix it together, and because the sprue so the glue melts the sprue, you can use that to fill gaps.
Oh.
If there are any gaps.
Well, I will do that
models.
then.
So you can try that.
Cool.
But these ones all go together really smoothly. There's no real gaps. So I don't think we'll need to use any sprue goo. But
Yeah, unless you're me and you're not good at putting them together. So,
Yep.
for my little orc guy, one part of him had glued, and then I realized I didn't completely press evenly.
Okay.
So then there was a gap.
Okay.
So if
yeah.
I had known about sprue glue.
that can happen as well.
So right now I'm just going to clip them all off, and then we can, and either the chat can decide, or you can tell me what you did, Dave.
Okay.
I'll do the opposite.
Which pieces to avoid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
okay.
just wanted to clip them all off first.
Okay. Just make sure you arrange them in groups.
Okay. Yeah.
Like these are the arms
Right.
that I could use. These are the heads I could use.
I'll do that instead of making this massive pile.
Yeah. Yes, Jez, it is a cool looking Minotaur. It's got that great, it's very sort of lithe and athletic kind of look. It knows how to use that double-handed axe.
Yeah.
You said that brown Dave was using kind of looks familiar. It sure does.
Is it charred brown?
It is charred brown. However, I'm going to mess around with something a little bit different tonight. So I put that on as the base coat. So that's sort of like going to be the mid-tone rather than being the shade.
Okay.
So for the shadows, because I want to mess around with sort of building up some of the volume ideas. So for the shadows, I'm going to mix in some black and some purple.
Oh, that's good.
Just to see how it goes. So charred brown already has some purple in it, like a tinge of purple. So
Right.
the hex lichen here is going to should work well in there, but it's tonally it's pretty similar to the charred brown, and maybe it's a little bit lighter. So I'm going to mix. And the reason I'm mixing in the black is to darken it down and give it that darker color. So we'll see how that goes.
That should be nice.
Yep. Betsy said, I've never actually assembled a mini. I've only painted board game minis.
Oh.
So this is
I
a thing.
thought those Lord of the Rings minis were... That makes sense that
Yeah.
they're not, but I thought maybe they were.
No.
Actually, you know what I thought? It was the Steam Forged for Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm
Okay.
surprised that those are completely assembled. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but...
Shouldn't be surprised at all.
Okay. That's cool. Well, I was going to ask a question about that. I always put the flat part up against the mini when I cut.
Right.
Is that correct? Or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you can do it a number of different
I
ways.
have the flat part, and I always put it facing the miniature, so
Yeah.
that then the
Here's the piece.
sprue is getting cut with the actual blade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can do it like that, and that will reduce the amount of cleanup that you need to do.
Yeah, that's what I found.
Because the piece that you're cutting off. Let me get my hands in the right spot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're way zoomed in.
Yeah.
My hands are huge. Look how huge they are.
Here, bring
There
it
we
over.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if this is the piece and you've cut against it, you'll have less of a kind of nub there. Mm-hmm. But some people like to make sure they clean that off carefully.
Okay.
Because sometimes what can happen when you cut close and pull it away, you're left with a little divot in the middle.
Right. Okay.
Depending on what the sort of how sharp your clippers are and what's going on inside the plastic part of that sprue injection point.
Right.
Because there might be a hole in there, or there might be a sort of different consistency of plastic. So they cut a little bit further away, and then they go in and clean up with a
Smart.
knife or files and that sort of thing. So it just depends on how fussy. That's the word I'm going to use. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Right.
How fussy you are about the cleanup of your miniatures. So.
But as you said, sometimes it can also depend, like, on the kind of miniatures you're assembling.
Yeah.
Because if you know, these models have, like, these long... Because I can imagine doing the long, thin appendage thing. My flat method is not as good because I'm cutting way too close to the thinness. And then it, like, ends up... It can easily bend.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
Here.
Oh, I can just move the camera. I can just move the...
Oh, you do it with that. You do it with the...
I can either do it like that, or I can move it over.
Yeah. I don't know. But, yeah, so there's a couple of different ways to do it. But the main thing is, like, don't be afraid. You might make a mistake. That's okay. Sean Gleason just said liquid green stuff works for filling gaps. Yep, it can work for filling gaps. It's I just found it was a little bit better on my mind's gone blank. Metal or resin models, but yep, definitely can work. Josh wants to know, why is it a Minotaur and not a your yes-tor?
Hello, Josh.
Welcome, Mr. Potter.
Welcome, Mr. Potter.
I think if you were to read that out loud, you would have answered your own question. Ashlyn's painting a pewter mini tonight. Cool. Jesson says, cool, a purple shaded Minotaur. Sounds like a prog rock band.
Yes.
Possibly. Gary's here. Hi, Gary. Welcome. Jess says Josh King Minus was a very negative bloke.
I like that.
Fantastic. Excellent. No doubt. He had a Labyrinth that was always sending people down there. Doesn't seem like he was that nice of a guy.
Yep.
Definitely not. Oh, hi, Simon. Evening. Everyone healthy now? Leona is healthy?
Yes.
Gretchen, not so much. Betsy says, I use varnish on super small gaps. And it works wonders. Oh, interesting. Like, for example, varnish out of a bottle, like that. Is that what you're talking about? Because that could work. That'd be interesting. But, yeah. One thing I was going to say is I actually heard last night a hobbyist whose work I follow on Instagram, who recently has been painting, when I say recently, so the last couple of years, has been painting a lot of older metal miniatures. And I found that the main reason for that is that he's actually allergic to...
Plastic?
No, to the vapors from some glues.
Oh, okay.
So when he uses where he used to do a lot of converting work,
right,
he would find he'd get really bad headaches. And it was from the vapors from the glue, so he now has just moved to working on miniatures that are a single piece.
Oh.
Or require minimal gluing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of like an interesting change in his hobby approach.
That is. That's very, it kind of makes sense. Especially, I know you can actually, you can kind of like develop sensitivity to that type of stuff. Because your brain is like, this is really bad. this is really bad. And then anything, your brain kind of tells you, it immediately goes into kind of because you've overloaded your senses, and then it tells you,
listen to the
yeah. It's like, don't even get me anywhere near.
Okay, because I'm doing the sort of this dark skin on there, I wanted to do lighter fur. So the fur is going to have a bit of a where'd it go? Sand yellow sort of undertone, and working up to an ivory.
Oh,
That
nice.
everybody's been paying attention. I didn't pick this up from Games and Stuff. I had it in my stash. I already had an ivory. I think I have another ivory at home as well, so I'm back to using ivory. So yeah, at the moment I'm just mixing in some of the charred brown. Let me see if I can get that. There we go. Mixing some charred brown into the sand yellow so that I can form just a quick sort of transition there between the colors. So doing this first before I get into shading the brown, just so I know where my sort of purple shading needs to stop. But of course, doing the purple, or using the sand yellow against that purple should be an interesting kind of look. I'm using the hex lichen as well because it's a cooler purple than like a magenta.
Right, so it
And the
goes
purple.
more with the brown.
It'll be a nice sort of warmth. Warm, like the brown is warm, the yellow is warm.
And then the
shadows
shadow is cool.
will be cooler. Yeah, not completely cool like a blue or a green, but heading in that direction.
Excuse me. Yes, that makes sense. Betsy said, I use varnish on oh no, sorry. I meant I have Liquitex matte varnish, and
Okay.
it's pretty thick.
Right, yeah. Yep, that's true.
That's what I was trying to... I knew that I saw that.
Uh,
While working with the frameworks, have you ever felt the need to wash them to clean off release residue?
No, not at all. I don't know that there is any mold release used on, because these being high impact polystyrene, they'd be pressed on steel molds at high speed. So I don't think that's the two halves of the mold coming together, the liquid being injected and then going apart.
Right.
So they go through that quickly.
Right.
So I don't think there's actually any mold release being sprayed in there like you'd find with usually it's like talcum powder for metal miniatures on silicon molds.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or some sort of oily spray release for resin minis.
Yeah, there's
their
none of
molds.
that on these.
Yeah.
These are very smooth, clean.
Yeah. I haven't sort of been to the factory where they're doing it, so perhaps there is something that they're doing. But
Yeah, and I say that after, because we did open up all of them that Frameworks sent us, so that's not just because we've opened up one. We did want to go ahead and open up all of them. So
yeah. So I think
Dave
you'd be
Hummel
safe
says,
with that.
glue vapor.
Glue vapors.
Yes, very special.
Yeah.
Last weekend's paint and take had over 60 participants. Oh, that's awesome. At your local game shop? That's really cool.
Very cool. Excellent.
What was the paint and take? I've kind of lost track of
The Wizkids
which
paint take?
paint and takes they're up to. Because sometimes I work in the future and I forget what's actually on shelves.
All right.
I know a few prop makers and costume effects folks who can't go near CA glue anymore. Due to developing sensitivity.
Yeah.
Yes, sad day. Wear a mask, I guess. I don't know.
That would be, yeah.
No, it's hard when you work with all that stuff, but the more you can, I guess, be careful with it, the better. So, speaking of glue, I'm gonna start gluing on. You gave your guy a staff or
so I did the rather than I gave him the hand separate option.
Okay.
So he's got one hand. His
you
right
did it
hand
more
is
like
out. Basically I built it just like the front of the box.
You built it like the box. Okay.
Yeah. So
Dave built it like this. Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
So I'm going to do the two-handed axe.
Yep.
Which is an easier way to build it. So.
But I'd just start.
I'm gonna look at the directions.
You could go with that, sure. Let's go with that.
Well, I mean, honestly, when I built this guy, I didn't look at the directions because it is kind of self-explanatory. So what were you gonna say? You should start with the what?
I was gonna say start with the legs and torso.
Okay. Yep.
That way, you can make sure that you're gluing things onto something that has a solid base, sort of thing.
He has this lantern that's like broken.
Yeah, there's a
broken lantern.
Basically, they've got there's a busted pillar that has some antlers and branches strapped to it.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
that's where these
that's where the antlers go.
These antlers go on this.
On the pillar.
The pillar.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
then you can put the other items hanging from the antlers or just resting on the base, that kind of thing. Me thinking ahead to the episode, put nothing on the base.
Oh.
Less things to paint. Higher chance of success.
That's true.
That was my thinking.
Oh, it was a small local pop culture and gaming convention.
Oh, cool.
Two-handed axe, yep. This would make a great demon figure, too.
If you painted it red, big Garistro.
That is true.
Could be great.
So yes, I'm going to be... I keep trying to turn down the contrast, and it keeps just going back up. So that's fine.
Right. So what I found myself doing, even though I said that I was going to go back and do the purple, I found myself actually painting all of the fur. I'm starting my painting with a... so the initial transition that I did to go to start going into the fur was about 2 parts charred brown to 1 part sand yellow, roughly that. I did that around the sort of the top edges. So when I say the top edges, where is he? There he is. So on this guy, what a very distracting shirt, haven't I? There we go. So the top areas here is where I started, and now working down to the rest of them. Working on a second kind of layer there, which is probably more 1-to-1 for the charred brown and the sand yellow. And then there'll be 2 parts sand yellow to 1 part charred brown. That way later on I can highlight the fur down there with straight sort of sand yellow, or maybe even mix in some ivory. So I think this will work well, and then I can go back and start on that start on the purple shading, which would be good. But I do like the shirt though.
It's a cool shirt. Yeah.
Cool. Yep.
I can go to here
There we go.
so people can see it. The full thing.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
there's-
anything in particular?
I think I might have mentioned. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Inquisitor 28 a
Okay.
bunch of times, or
Yeah.
sort of the Inquisimunda kind of thing. But yeah, so there's a cool fanzine, cool magazine called 28 Mag. It's coordinated by some folks in Scandinavia and other places around the world. But yeah, lots of great sort of grimdark stuff, and they have a sort of on the staff. It's all volunteers. But, on the staff is a cool artist from, I think he's in Louisiana.
That's cool.
Yeah, but he has a Instagram page. I think it's Martin Tresty. I'm not exactly sure, but so I was checking out his Instagram, and on there I saw this cool design, and then it said new T-shirt design in my store. And I was like, I am going to go and check that out.
That is cool.
I checked it out, and the price was right, and there was another cool T-shirt in there, so I got that one too. And
Voila.
voila,
The rest is history.
bought a couple of T-shirts because I didn't quite have enough T-shirts in my life.
No.
Never do. But yeah, definitely worth checking out if you like the grimmer, darker kind of stuff. So there we go. Looking pretty good.
I'm having some trouble figuring out which hair goes to which head.
Ah, right. Okay. Definitely. Have you looked at the?
Yeah, I've looked at the thing.
The instructions?
Yes.
The manual?
The manual. And this is when my dexterity,
Ah,
I find, is a little lacking.
right.
Like
Yeah,
my
it's like-
fingers, I don't even have that large of fingers, like compared, you know what I mean, like in terms of human race.
Right.
But yeah, I just
You're not at the top end of the scale, you're saying.
yeah, but I still feel
You don't
I
have the
think
hands of Andre the Giant.
because I don't always do fine detail work with my fingers.
Right.
Sometimes I feel a little bit like a baby because I like will want something to go. Like I'll start to slowly put the pieces together, and then all of a sudden, like something will, I'll like twitch,
Right.
and then I'll be like, ah! It's like the baby putting the fork to their face, and then they like
Right.
move it away because their fine motor skills are not on
Yep. You seeing you have the fine motor skills of an 8-month-old?
of a baby. What is the diameter of the base?
Good question.
It looks kind of large for the usual 2-inch size as a size of a large creature.
This
I think
one,
it is a 2-inch.
I think, yeah, it's 2 inches.
It's a, yeah.
Yep.
It is a 2-inch.
I'm using the larger holder, so yeah, 50 millimeters, 2 inch. Is that like a standard thing for like in D&D or the Wizkids line? Might be.
Wizkids line, yes.
Okay.
D&D, I don't know if that actually relates to the grid pattern on the...
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. I guess it would. Yeah.
I
up
actually
two
think Jason, because he said it looks kind of large for the usual base size, but I think they're fitting.
Yeah, I think it's possible as well. As I mentioned before, the Minotaur is quite lithe looking.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a big ogre or a troll or something like that.
Yeah.
So that might be making the base look bigger because the mini's a little bit smaller than those.
Yeah,
what you
he's
expect
not
from those larger
overreaching
models.
his base.
Yeah.
Like, unlike this orc, who is almost off of the base.
All right, yep, because it's
1
under
inch.
25 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy, he has a good distance on the base. Like, his whole body fits very well. And feet, I should say. The
Yep.
feet fit completely on the base with extra around. Two-headed axe is a good choice. You're right. Oh, they're called... Oops, I'll scroll down.
Were they called what?
Well, I have to scroll back up to the chat. They're called Labyrinths in Greek, and they have ceremonial ones found in the King Minos's palace. That's cool.
Excellent.
That is very cool.
Neat.
Yes, who knew?
Well, now you know why it's cool, Josh. Now you know why. Yep. James says 1 inch is medium size, 2 is the large size, and 3 is the huge size.
Okay. I think you're right. The camera did add weight to this. Like, it looks particularly big, but...
Yeah. I was going to say it looks quite small against my belly. But,
tiny.
it's the shirt. Again, the shirt is distracting. I need to wear like a plain color.
It's tiny.
Yeah, excellent. So there we go. I've got the base colors down for the fur there. I might a little bit of just start brushing on sort of a very very rough sort of overbrush for around the bottom of those fur sections. I have a feeling that the reason I'm not jumping into the purple just yet is that I'm a little bit worried
Oh,
about it.
you're worried about it?
So I'm doing displacement activity. You should be shading it right now, Dave. I know, but I'm just going to do this bit first. Could be handy.
I have some new graphics for us.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Because as we add new things to the show and
Yep.
whatnot, we are going... So one of the things that we talked... not paying Happy Little Minis.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about a question of the week. So if you look on the screen right now, there's a little graphic that says question of the week. And the question of the week for this week, just to kind of talk about miniature painting and things like that, is... Oops.
Is?
What are your favorite miniatures to paint? And why? Like miniature models. What are your favorite models to paint?
What are mine?
Yeah.
Or is this a question for...
This is a question for everybody.
Everybody.
But also Dave.
Let's talk to everybody else first.
Okay.
Because I don't know that I have any favorites.
You don't have favorites?
No.
Okay.
My favorites are the ones that I'm working on right now. Or the ones I'm going to be working on next.
You don't actually have like models that you're like, oh, I love when I paint this model.
Yeah, I do, but there's a lot of them.
Okay.
It's more like it'd be easier to say I don't
Which
like
ones you
I don't like
don't-
painting these models.
Which ones you don't like?
Yeah, but that's kind of negative.
That's kind of
so,
negative.
Yeah, let's not talk. We're here for the fun positivity, right? Yeah, I don't know.
I know Gretchen always said she loved painting dragons.
This is true. She has painted about 70.
Yeah.
Painted all the dragons. But, I don't know. I like painting miniatures. My favorite miniatures to paint are those with a lot of clarity and definition.
Okay.
So, and that have areas of detail and texture and smoothness, like an lactic texture. So to have good contrasts across the model. So that's more. It's less of a I like painting orcs or
Right.
whatever. More of a the sculpt is quite important to me. So
Having a
that's
sculpt
where I'd have to go.
with defined.
Yeah, and there. Oh, what are they?
Holes here.
There are three. There's something I've talked about. I think I've talked about it before. Maybe I haven't talked about it on the show. But anyway, just there are sort of 3 stages for making a miniature.
Right.
Well, no, not stages, but there are 3 super important elements to it. One is the sculpt. So
Right.
you can have a good sculpt or you can have a bad sculpt. Then there's the mold making. So you can have a good mold or a bad mold. And bad mold might be that it's put where the angle that things are on. You get a mold line that you're always going to get a mold line that runs through the eye,
Right.
or
Right.
across a very heavily textured area, or that kind of thing. Sometimes you can't help that with the model, but anytime the company takes the time to adjust their model or adjust the orientation in the mold,
Right.
to avoid those is great. And then you've got the cast. So with metal and resin, you're more likely to get off casts. But with plastic, you can get things like mold shift, where the 2 halves of that mold come together, but maybe they haven't been tightened up in the jig or the arms that sort of bring them together.
Okay.
So that there's a little bit of mold slip.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so rather than them being lined...
Perfectly.
Rather than being lined
Yeah.
up perfectly, yeah, you get a drop. And that's always super annoying. But again, you're more likely to get that in metal and resin casts because they're all hand done rather than machine bringing the 2 halves of the mold together. So, yeah, I really enjoy painting models that are well sculpted, molded, and cast.
So that by the time it gets to you, there's little to no.
Yeah, it's just everything works well. But you can take a sort of every step along the way. It starts with having a good sculpt, and then having a good
Right.
mold made of it, and then a good cast. So you can have a good sculpt, but if the mold is terrible, molding the way that's been done, then the cast, even if you have a good cast of it, it's not going to be great.
Makes sense.
If you have a good sculpt, a good mold, and a good cast, you can have a great model.
Also, hello, Lava Painter. I missed your one comment before.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for joining. James says Ranger and Druids.
Cool.
Lava Painter says the big ones, more specifically Monster Apocalypse because of
Nice.
the varieties. Battletech Minis. I'm with Dave. That's a tough one to answer. That's what JT said.
Right.
Jez says I like big monsters or undead,
Okay. Yep.
as I like painting grubby things. That's fair. Brontonaut says Warhammer Lizardmen.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. Yeah. Like the Seraphon?
Yep.
Or no? Okay.
Before Age of Sigmar, back in the Warhammer fantasy days, they were called Lizardmen.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Those actually are really cool models. And talk about assembling. I found them very enjoyable to assemble as well
Oh, that's good.
when we put them together. Well, when I put them together.
Yep.
JT says, my favorite recently have been very mechanical models like knights, and I've been working on armor.
Okay.
So armor weathering.
Yep.
Sean says, I paint a variety of models, mostly JW and Malifaux. Malifaux minis have some really fun poses.
Yep. Yeah. They've got a lot of great dynamic elements in there for sure.
Josh Potter says, my favorite is whatever I happen to be painting at the time. That was basically your answer. Depends on the mood.
Samey.
Yeah. Ashlyn says, I like doing female models, but I think my favorite are Matt Cross and Robotech. Oh, nice.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of your Macross in the group. They're really nice.
Yep. Indeed.
Gotta love those Robotech models.
Yep.
Sean says it depends on the mood, and David says, having really only painted GW models, I can't say. I've painted Astra Militarium, Space Marines, WFB Empire, and
Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Oh. Empire. And Ogre Kingdoms.
Yep.
I enjoyed the Space Marines the most due to the smoother surfaces and ease of painting.
Yep. Oh, James also says, and large ships.
And large ships.
We're going to let that slide on you. We're going to push that on you, James. But, yes.
So I was trying to make sprue glue. Did I not make the sprue glue? Did I not make it small enough?
Sprue goo?
Goo, yeah. Sprue goo. I was trying to make sprue goo.
Why were you trying to make sprue goo?
Because I have a gap. I have a gap.
Why do you have a gap?
With my application.
Why do you have a gap?
Well, because I told you. Oh, I guess I can just take it off and push it on.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a gap anymore.
Yes.
Now that I've spent time trying to make sprue goo.
Yep. One thing that you can do as well is if you have a tiny gap and you're using the that's something as well.
What?
The tube that you've
I'm supposed to use this tube?
Well, that should be stuck in the bottle, and then
I always found it very difficult.
When you turn the bottle up, you can.
Yeah, I always found it didn't do that.
It wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is a great thing. So Leona, can you just put that under camera for a sec? Okay, so.
Well, they've seen it because they've seen me glue.
Yeah, but so this is the Games Workshop plastic glue. Has a metal tube there. Tester's Model Masters is a glue that bottle shape's kind of different, but it's the same concept. There's plastic glue in the bottle. There's a long, thin metal tube that you use. So you use that to apply in very small areas wherever you need to.
Gotcha.
The Tester's one is supplied with, like, each pack has two thin metal.
Oh, almost like
beans.
Almost like pins.
Like pins, but like thinner.
Right.
That you can slide down and you can clear any blockages in the tube.
Yeah.
Sadly, the GW one doesn't come supplied with that. So this is another trick, which is a little bit dangerous.
Okay.
So do not try this at home.
Okay.
What you can do, or what I've done in the past at home, is so when you have the tube attached to the thing. Let's get this out of the way. So let's say this is the bottle of glue. This is the tube coming out of it. You give it a little bit of a squeeze, and you get a lighter, like a cigarette lighter, and you sort of heat up the end.
To draw.
You just give it a squeeze, and because the glue is flammable and the vapor is flammable, it will burn the blockage out of there. And when you give it a little squeeze, you get like a little jet of fire coming out. So that's why you should not try it at home.
It was funny because in my head I was like, oh, maybe we can try this here. And then I'm like,
No.
I was like, oh, it's
big
just
disclaimer.
A little squeeze.
Do not try it at home.
Yeah, so I never have gotten these these ones to work.
And that would be why.
So that's why I always... Oh, I lied. There we go. Now it's working.
It's working now. Cool.
It's working now.
Yeah.
Cool. Now I can apply more precisely.
So there's a little trick for you.
A little
to
trick.
Not use
dangerous.
At home. Danger, danger.
Danger, danger. Hooray for danger.
Exactly.
Don't try this at home. Go to your neighbor's house.
Up to you.
That's so funny.
But I certainly
now
did not send you.
Squeezing out.
Yeah, it'll do that. The toughest part, of course, is the because you've got liquid and gas inside there, so air and liquid in there. When you sort of turn it upside down and it goes into the tube and bring it back, the air, it all wants to equalize.
Right.
And sometimes it
right.
equalizes by pushing the liquid that's in the tube out.
Out. Yeah.
So just be prepared for that. There are some other polystyrene cements that that use a brush to brush on the liquid. Some people like to use those. They can be... I find the metal tube to be a little bit more... it's easier to sort of direct where you want the glue to go. But of course, with the brush-on sort of glue, brush-on applicator, you don't have that same nozzle clogging problem. Dave Hummel says, I use small gauge wire to clear the GW nozzle. That's true. Sean uses Loctite gel. So that's a CA glue. I think CA glue. So, and typically those come in much smaller containers. So you never really need to unclog those nozzles.
Oh, that's nice.
That's very nice.
But again, that's super glue, so it sticks the two parts together.
But it doesn't bind
It
them.
doesn't melt them together.
And in darkness binds them.
Yes. Just says, I do the lighter trick too. Gonna give it a second afterwards. Comes out hot and vapory otherwise. Indeed. So remember, if you aren't doing it at home, just lean back as well.
So you don't get your
Yep.
jobs done. Where are my eyebrows? That's what I was gonna say.
Yep. I'm not saying you don't get up close to it. That would be ridiculous.
Don't put your face in it.
Yep. Okay. So what I'm doing at the moment is going back and forth from my palette to the mini, messing around with different mixes, trying to get the purple in there to be dark enough to go in as a shadow. And just painting it into the recesses in a fairly sort of heavy-handed approach. Just into the recesses. Thankfully, he's quite heavily muscled, so there's
Yeah,
a lot
he's
of...
beefed up.
Yeah, you were going to say buff.
I was going to say buff.
Yep, he's quite buff. So, yep. And then, so once we've got all this in place, I can come back with the charred brown, do some highlighting, mix in a little bit of dwarf skin on there. But we'll see when I get to that. And I'll probably going to be doing a little bit more of the shading down on his legs. And less highlighting when I get down there as well. Make sure I do it on the side of his face, and those eye sockets, the ears.
Ashlyn said, I love the Tamiya glue.
Tamiya glues. Yep. Yeah, the Tamiya, I think, well, if it's the ones that Ashlyn's talking about, the Tamiya has one of the Tamiya plastic cements has a screw top.
Oh.
And the brush is attached to the underside of the screw top. So when you lift it up,
That's nice.
Excuse me, it's
you brush
almost
it
like
on.
nail polish.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yep. And the good thing about that is you're not going to lose the brush at all because it's attached to the lid. But yeah, they're quite good. James uses the Bob Smith Industries super glue, like this one.
Nothing wrong with that. It's
Yeah.
good Gets the job done.
We use that too. And just as buff beef.
Buff beef.
Indeed.
Beef buff.
I'm guessing there might not be a lot of marbling going on. Very lean.
Lean cuisine over here.
Yeah. If you were thinking about eating the Minotaur.
So does he have any of these accoutrements on his belt?
On his person?
Or are they all just on
I think they're all for the
the
base.
stand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because it's like a larger base, there's quite a lot of open space on there.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of to add a little bit of interest. And of course, if you have two of them, or if you have three of them, and you're like, oh, do I do two-handed, like holding the axe in two hands?
Right.
What do I do? How do I tell them apart?
I'm going to
Add a lot of things to this guy. So here he is with his axe, looking very nice.
Cool.
In my shaky hands. And now that he's done, we put him over to the side.
because I don't want to glue him without figuring out where I want this piece to go
You're right.
on the base
Am
first.
I getting that
so
in frame?
I'm going
out of
to.
frame.
I can scoot it over.
You can scooch me over a little bit. That'd be great. Thank you. Okay.
Minotaur beef sounds like another bistro menu item. Yes.
Minotaur steaks.
Minotaur flank
steak.
steak, tenderloin, glazed, braised, ribs, sirloin, and ribeye.
Man, you're just not missing out on anything there, Josh.
There's a lot there.
I'm hungry. I've just got water here. Very hungry now.
Yes, no steak.
We haven't figured out how to do themed meals with our miniatures yet.
Well, it's tough to eat and paint at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier. Like, could you eat dinner on painting Happy Little Minis? And then I was like, no, that would not work.
No, not
Because
unless-
it would just be gross, right? Like,
Yep.
you could either eat badly, like, it would just be eating.
Yep.
And you wouldn't be painting at all, or you would try and do both, and then that would not be a good combo.
It would not work. Yep.
Or you would just paint and then your food would get cold.
It would take a very long time to eat mashed potatoes with a brush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very long time. So, yeah, I think we just avoid it.
So yeah, sounds good. Dave can't. He eats paint.
Fair.
There's very little sustenance in it, though. It's not filling. Not filling at all.
Yeah, with the bottles. Ooh, it is 8:00.
Oh my goodness. 8 o'clock. We should probably have a look at some minis.
Let's look at some minis.
So these are miniatures that I asked for last week,
Okay.
and I just saved them for this week. So some of you might have already worked on different projects, but for the sake of ease, I ended up just...
Cool. I think we get to see anyway. See them all.
See them all. Okay. I really wanted to get
They're
this
really good.
last little. It's hard to see, but I wanted to get this antler thing on.
Okay.
Okay. So we are going to take a look at some miniatures from the Painting Happy Little Minis group.
Let's see.
You can find that on Facebook. It's a fun time.
At Painting Happy Little Minis.
Yes.
Go.
First up, we have... Nope.
The so just quickly, Sean said, talking about the Minotaur flank steak, so would that be half cannibalism if eaten by humans? It would probably also lead to mad cow disease.
Yeah.
Just throwing that one in there before Josh.
Yeah. First up, we have Ashlyn's piece for
What do we have?
this week.
Oh, cool. Excellent. is this Castellan Crow? I think it might be. So this is from the Black Templars army.
Oh, okay.
But, so Ashland's painting this up with a silver scheme rather than the black. But oh no, is it Black Templars? Yeah. For a second there, I was like Grey Knights, but no, definitely Templars.
I just wanted to see if someone said it in the chat.
Yeah, sure thing. Looking back and forth, but no, looking really good, Ashland. Again, loving the weathering that you've got going there.
Oh yeah, and also the work on the sword.
Yeah, yep, that great sort of mid glow there. But yeah, looking very cool. Nice work.
Yes, very nice. Always impressed. Next we have Betsy with the Hill Troll from Lord of the Rings, Journey in Middle-earth.
Fantastic. So this is the third troll, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
So this one has grey skin rather than the first two were green. Is that right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really loving this. I think the blue-green in the scales on the shoulder looks very cool, and I think that would probably tie that back into those other two a little bit. And going with that more red tone in the brown for the loincloth is great, but it doesn't take it too far away from the orange that's in the other the loincloths of the other two.
Right.
So they still work well as a group, but they're very definitely individuals. I do like
this coloring reminds me of the Hobbit movie.
Right. Yep.
Because they went more with a gray.
Yep.
Than a green.
And one of the other things I love here is the so on all of his scars there, basically running like a little wash of like pinkish.
Pink, yeah.
Yep. So the sort of scars that are still healing, looking good. Nice work, Betsy.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Then we have Charlie Granger with the most recent kit bash.
Yep.
An attempt at painting.
So just quickly, Betsy said in the chat that the other two are minions. This guy is the boss.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. And it was a Black Templar model, but it's meant to be what if the Knights Templar survived to 40k?
Yep. And weren't taken out in Black Friday. Not Black Friday. Friday the 13th. But yeah, absolutely fantastic conversion there, Charlie. I think it's looking awesome. I really love the a lot of sort of subtle color differences, hue differences.
Yep.
But you've got really great contrast, tonal contrast going on there with highlighting. So like the edges of the knee pads, just above the knees there, the folds and the tabard are great. They're just like on that chain that's sort of hanging between the legs there with the inquisitorial symbol on it.
Yep.
Just picking out those little links.
Almost like medallion. Yeah.
Yep. It looks super cool. And yeah, loving it. I think it's looking really good. And I love that gun as well. It's a cool looking gun.
It's a cool kit bash.
Yep. Awesome kit bash. Excellent work, Charlie. Looks great. Loving it.
Next we have her Skorka.
Yep. With Helbrecht. So this is High Marshal Helbrecht of the Black Templars. It's a fantastic sculpt. Beautiful sculpt. I haven't put it together, so I don't know whether the mold is great, but I'm assuming it is. And as long as there's no mold shift, you're always going to get mold lines. But no, I think Chris has done an excellent job here. It's a little bit different. Like Chris's normal works have a lot of mid and dark tones with one or two sort of popping light tones. Right. With this, both the blue and the gold are working as light tones on there.
I mean, even the white, there's some white accents.
There's the white there as well, yeah.
It's just like everything's raised.
Exactly, yeah. It sort of keeps... You got lots of layers going on there. And the key thing, though, is that because he's got that contrast on that central figure, and it's got the bright white and the gold, the focus is on Helbrecht there, and everything else around him. So even on his back banner there, and the servitor that's cleaning his sword, and the orc that the sword is plunged into,
Yeah.
and the servitor around the back that's holding his combi bolter. Everything there is is desaturated, and there's a lack of contrast,
Yeah.
which really pushes everything, the focal point, into the center there. So really interesting choices there. I've seen I think the GW model, that orc is very bright
Oh.
as well. It's got a bright sort of green skin. So everything in the GW model is, their approach is always to treat everything sort of equally,
Right,
as
right.
far as
Composition.
intensity
Yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, this is a very deliberate choice by Chris, and I think he's done a great job there.
You're right. It really does highlight sort of, and it also, I think, highlights, because that is making your eye draw into the figure. You notice his positioning and like his, I don't know, it has this sense of presence.
It strengthens that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like it
strengthens
helps
that.
pull that out from the model.
Yeah. Yep.
Just
Indeed.
with some smart choices. Looks really good.
Yep. Great work, Chris.
Next up, we have Christopher Wallace with, I believe this is a pirate?
Looks pretty piratical to me.
Yeah. He didn't say, but
I think this will look great on one of James's ships.
there you go.
But no, looking very cool. I love that red coat with the black trim.
Mm-hmm.
So pirates in the Caribbean. What do we say in this country?
I say either one.
Either way.
To me, it's
Okay.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and
Caribbean.
it's the Caribbean place.
Oh, that's weird. That's odd. Inconsistency. But anyway, sorry. But yeah, having a red coat that might have been stolen from a British
Right,
admiral
Right.
or a British captain
right.
is fantastic. May have actually been a British captain. I love that the tricorn hat, rather than being felt, so you see a lot of, particularly in like the Revolutionary War period, there's a lot of felt hats that have
Right.
the three corners pulled up. This is a leather hat.
Oh, right.
Look at that.
Felt
look at that.
meaning it would be black.
It would be black. Yeah.
Right, okay.
A black hat would typically be a felt hat.
Yeah, this one's leather.
Yeah, definitely leather. And the colours that Christopher's chosen for the beard kind of make me feel that this character could be played by Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
Kind of thing. But yeah, looking very cool, Christopher.
It is looking
I think
really
it's
nice.
a great looking model. Nice work.
Some smart choices there.
Yep.
Next up, we have Dave Hummel's piece.
Cool. Excellent. Can we zoom in on that a little bit?
Yes, we can.
So just on...
Sorry, it'll just be on our side of things.
Sorry. Yep. Excellent. So yeah, this is the a Terminator Librarian. Looking very cool. This is one of the older ones. So this is originally it would be a metal model. I'm not sure if this might be a fine cast version of it. But yeah, again, lots of layers going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave's chapter has predominantly red on
Oh,
the
okay.
armor, but the librarian
Always has blue.
Yeah.
Right.
So they don't always have to be blue,
Right.
but they're going to have some. Typically, we will have some blue on them.
Right.
But yeah, I think as they might have said before that it's a great like palette cleanser.
Ah, yes.
So as you're going through, you're not just painting
Right.
red all the time. It's like I'm going to take a break and paint some blue.
And isn't one of them like white or something? No.
Yep, the apothecaries.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna
Apothecaries are
say,
white.
isn't it the healer?
Yep. Chaplains are black.
So Chaplain is black. Okay. Yep. Wow,
So,
I'm really learning.
Yep. Tech Marines are red.
I knew one was white and black.
Right.
You
Yep.
should be proud of me.
Now you know blue and red for Tech Marines.
Right.
So yeah, definitely. These are the psychers. They've got that psychic quad over there. So, but yeah, looking good there, Dave. I think a little bit of work, a little bit of extra work to do on some of those details. I think sort of going through and painting gold and bits and pieces might be the next step there. So a little bit on the knee pad
And,
up on the,
and finish up the
Yep.
relic or whatever is on top.
Yep, definitely. And let's just check. He's drilled out the barrels on the store ball today. And not just, I think he hasn't just done it from the front. Looks like he's done it drilled across from the side as well, which is very cool. Nice work, Dave.
Looking good. Next up we have Fabrice with a work in progress.
My goodness, this guy's creepy.
Is he the one from Bard Song?
I'm not sure.
I have
I've
a
not
box
looked
right
at
over
Bard
there.
Song at all. Might be, but no. This is super cool. It's kind of weird. He's got a lot of things that kind of suggest to me that he'd be like a corn worshipper, sitting on a throne of skulls. He's got the wings. He's got that going for that red.
He's
kind of
not.
look. He's got that Minotaur kind of bestial goat thing going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's really corpulent. He's got that big
Orcus, apparently.
body. Pardon?
Orcus.
Orcus, is this a D&D thing? Might be.
Yes.
Yes, let's say yes.
Because that's what two people are saying. So.
Right, cool. Let's go with that. But yeah, looking very cool. That would be that's an
Wild.
awesome big boss.
Yeah.
You can see how big he is compared
As you
to
said,
that.
he's kind of this
Like the
weird
mouse on the side.
mashup.
Yep. But yeah, frightening.
Having
Frightening.
that deep red be the almost mid-tone
Yep.
color is really smart choice. And my guess is that the skulls haven't been painted yet, but I mean, even with them being white, you could almost leave them. Like you could add
You
a
could,
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't take the skulls on his you're talking about the skulls on his waist or the skulls on the throne?
I'm talking about the skulls on the throne.
Yeah. It's always a tough one as to whether how do you go all the way to white?
Yeah.
Or do you leave it
Like I
that
think
sort
you
of
would put a
yellow
wash
kind of
over it, but you almost could like leave them. You wouldn't have to like make them very dark
No, you wouldn't.
because then to me it helps frame the
Yeah.
mini.
What you could do there as well is maybe you make it a little bit more yellow around the base.
Okay.
And then as you work up, they're white at the top because that's where the light.
Right.
would typically hit.
Right. That would be cool.
But yeah, looking excellent, Fabrice.
Very nice.
Nice work.
Next up, we have Gary Rose with a Labyrinth Minotaur.
My goodness. I have not seen this model before.
Oop.
It's looking very cool. Look at all that armor.
Yeah.
Armor plating. My favorite thing, of course, though, is that flaming purple sword.
Yeah.
And you know it's magical because it's purple.
And only magic is purple.
All magic is purple. Yep. But I do also like that the Gary hasn't tried to make it like to go over the top with it.
Mm-hmm.
That sword is a sort of nice big, it's a massive over the top sword, but hasn't gone garish with the rest of the colors. So keeping
True.
that purple through into the highlighting on the cloak, the purple on the tabard there, it just keeps it nice and contained and simple. Not simple, but just not that garish kind of thing that
Yeah,
sometimes
kind
you
of by
can get.
limiting his
Yeah,
palette.
working with the limited
he's
palette, yeah.
he's providing almost your brain. It's a lot more readable for your brain, and so
Yeah.
you're, as you said, like even though it is this gigantic sword that like feels a bit over the top, his miniature actually feels more.
Grounded, realistic.
Yeah, like
Yep.
oh, I don't want to mess with him. He feels very serious, much
Yes.
more so.
Yeah, for sure. No, looking very cool. Nice work, Gary. Who we have next?
We have Josh Potter
Josh Potter. Oh my goodness, not Josh. Josh.
with a little knight.
Who is this knight? Who is this knight?
And yeah, you didn't say, so I didn't put up. So
But yeah, no, looking
this lovely knight.
quite cool there. The he's got the shield coming across his body there.
Yeah,
So maybe he's he's in the.
he's not in the jousting
Well, no,
competition.
it could be. Well, it could be in the jousting. There are some jousts.
Oh yeah, that were
done-
head on.
Yeah, or done.
I'm always thinking of not the joust, but the rings.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. The joust is he would be.
Well, I think a lot of times the way that it's done now is something that's done now and possibly was done many times it crossed over,
Yeah.
so that you're hitting the person's left side. But I know that it was also at times done on the right side where you'd pass on the right.
Interesting.
So it's a little bit more
That's
dangerous
a little
that way.
rough
Oh,
for the
it's
jouster.
super rough, yeah. But no, looking very cool. We got
The
check.
Red Knight from the Thunderbolt Mountain
Miniatures. Yep.
Nice.
Very cool. Yep, looking great, Josh. Very
Yeah,
nice.
he's looking really good. I'm excited to see how you finish him off.
Yep.
Next up, we have JT.
JT with a Knight Styrax, I think.
Styrax.
So JT was mentioned before that he's really enjoying painting the like mechanical things,
Right.
so the knights and the
Right.
big flat armor and panels and that kind of thing. Yep. The Styrax is a Forge World conversion kit. So that carapace at the top, the shoulder pads, and the weapons.
Nice.
And I think even the armor plates at the front, like on the shins, are resin that all go onto the plastic body.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So talking of glues, that would be super glue,
Mm-hmm.
gluing the resin to the plastic. But looking really good. I think so. He's doing House Taranis, which has the black and white sort of heraldry. And Mechanicus Knights, so they're red as the main color, but it means that those green eyes just really
Pop.
from the center there. It's nice and handy that they're in the center of the model, but they just draw that focus to the face. But yeah, looking very cool, JT.
I'm excited to see how this one
It's nice. Yep.
finish him off.
Yep. Bit of work to go on the basing and a little bit of detailing and maybe some decals, but looking good.
Yeah. Next we have Carl Brooks
Al Brooks.
with a little commander.
Yeah. So this is a paratrooper, I think. Possibly, I don't know. The red barrier is throwing me. But,
Yeah.
because looking at the rest of the outfit, it looks. Not sure if it's a paratrooper jacket, but it looks to be undone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bit of a belly showing there in the middle? I don't know. So it might be. This could be like a post-apocalyptic mini.
Okay. Yeah.
Rather than a World War II character, but definitely looking very cool. Love that pose with the like machine pistol out the side and the pistol down ready. But no, looking good. I think that the red beret is a great choice there, working against that green, but having that little pop of the white.
Mm-hmm.
I found it was looking great. But yep.
It leads your eyes up to the face.
Yeah. Very
Looking
cool. It looks like he's got a jaw sort of very, well, he's sort of thrust out there. Sorry. Just to get back to that for a sec.
Yeah, he's like,
Got a great underbite. Oh,
yeah.
sort of bulldogish. But yeah, nice work, Carl. Looks great. And now back to Liam.
Liam.
Okay, so this is the Arch Revenant from the Flesh Eater Courts for Warhammer. So this is like a
I knew I had seen
yeah.
that.
We've seen
before.
one or two before, yeah. It's kind of a vampire ghoul,
Right. Genie.
or like a strigoi.
His blue skin.
Character.
Yeah. He kind of looks like a genie.
I think that's the blue.
With his
the,
blue.
The blue might be impacting that, yeah.
But it's a really I love the way that he's painted it
yeah,
up.
yeah, it does look very cool. The particularly typically they're very as with a lot of ghouls, they're very sort of dirty and grimy, that sort of dirty, grimy feel. But I think Liam's sort of made a very particular choice here
To not make
to
them
not go with that griminess. Yeah,
grimy.
and you see on that shoulder pad on the other side, the pauldron there. So got that nice bright gold trim and the silver
Right.
armor, as if it probably polishes that sort of every night as a way of remembering something, but remembering its former life. But no, I think you've done a great job there, Liam. Looks really cool. Oh, and is that rat on the base dead? I think it might be.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. But no,
Dead
nice
rat.
work. Looks great.
Next up, we have Louis Anthony Citron with Vandal the Elf from Zealot Miniatures,
Right.
based on Hero Quest.
Yep. That's a very cool elf model. I'm loving those colors. They're looking really good.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you don't always see yellow
No.
on fantasy models.
No. Well, his boots are yellow. Or the front of the boots are yellow there. So, or is it? Or is it something on the ground?
No, I think it is actually the front of the boot.
So a little
Or
bit
shoe.
of little bit of Tom Bombadil influence there.
Yeah.
But yeah, can you zoom in on just a little bit for me on the monitor here? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm loving the yellow and the blue in the
Sword?
reflection on the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not reflecting off anything that's around the model at the time. That's been painted on to represent other elements that are going on around the model there. But no, looking very cool. Yep. And again, nice warm choices. You got a lot of warm colors going on there. The boots, the pants, the tunic, the armor is all nice and warm. But then that blue in the sword gives you that sort of balance overall.
And it's nice that they chose a darker skin tone for the yellow, because then it helps you not, like, there's a browner tone. It's still warm, but it just kind of, I think it helps the yellow stand out.
Yeah, definitely.
In a nice way.
Yeah, you're not competing at those two tonal values.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Looking
great.
good.
Nice work, Lewis. Very cool.
Next we have
Mr. Maxey is
Mr.
working on.
Mock.
This PC is working on for Golden Demon in 2 weeks' time at Adepticon. 2
I know.
weeks. I think it'll be 2 weeks Saturday. The event will probably be. Golden Demon will probably be on.
Wild.
But yeah, looking very cool. So this is one of the ring wraiths.
Yeah, so this is amazing.
Yep.
In the group, Mark actually put up like a video of him kind of turning the model with, and I think at that point he had finished it, so he cut out what was on the wood, I think.
Right.
So it was like a more finished version, and yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, I'm not that great of a mini painter, but I was like, oh my gosh. And I mean, I love the Lord of the Rings, so it's hard to beat seeing a well-painted ring wraith. So excellent job.
Yeah, looks great. And yeah, if that gets turned a little bit, you start to see some of that red object source lighting cast down on the back of the model. So again, great color contrast, like hue contrast there between that red lighting and the that bluish greenish tinge
Green, yeah.
in the cloak. But yeah, excellent work, Mark. I look forward to seeing this in person.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Wah!
2 weeks.
Next up, we have Michael Lim
Oh, very cool.
painting up. Someone mentioned what these were, but I forgot.
Okay, folks, where are these from?
He didn't say, but someone in the comments did. Actually, no. Someone in the comments was, mentioning his colors. They were like, "I really like the colors that you used."
Yep. Yeah, very definitely. The so that pink, pink is quite bright on the base, but the pink it's a little bit more desaturated on the body.
Yeah, yeah.
And having that saturated green next to it, this is really making that green pop. But the other cool thing as well is that you've got that deep green, that saturated green. You've got that paler pastel pink, and then the white. Mm-hmm. So there's almost that like a pyramidal kind of feel working up. But yeah, looking very cool. Are these board game minis? I think they're all in the same pose. And
they are.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my guess.
Cool. Very nice. Excellent work, Michael.
They look very
great.
good. This is the last one.
Last one for tonight.
Sean has... This is Sean's first dive into the 7 Underworlds warbands that are unpainted.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, this is from the Chosen Axes.
Yes.
I can't remember this character's name, but it's pretty cool. They got those 2 axes there. These are Fire Slayers. Is the
Fire Slayers.
Fire Slayers. Fire Slayers.
I like how his head piece is half of his height.
Oh yeah.
His head mount. If you proportion it out, I think it's
his mohawk.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure actually in the Warhammer Old World before in Fantasy Battles, the Troll Slayers had dyed their hair orange and they had mohawks. Some of them massively tall.
Gotcha.
When you got to be a giant slayer, and big orange beards. So in Age of Sigmar, they've evolved into the Fire Slayers.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I'm not sure whether those are still mohawks or whether they're just crests and a helmet.
Right.
But sometimes, like in the Old World, they were
almost looks like mohawks.
There were mohawks. Then the guys would still wear helmets, but the helmets would have metal would have the slit there, so the mohawk could come out through the the helmet. So I'm not sure which one it is, but yeah. But no, this is looking really good. Sean has finished these now, so you can see the finished Chosen Axes warband. So these 4 models, you can see them in the group.
Nice. But
yeah, looking really good. And again, I'm loving the. Again, we've got that same sort of thing going on with the bright yellow, like orange, yellow, white at the top on the crest, down to that reddish orange in the beard, and then down onto the sort of the desaturated blues, darker blue down on the base. Yeah, looking very grounded.
It's
nice
good
work
to
there,
keep
Sean.
That. I'm going to keep that in mind when I paint my mini, another mini. So yeah, that is what we have for today in terms of looking at minis. And what's sad is that I actually have a little graphic for
a graphic as well.
A miniature showcase, and I'll show you what it will look like the next time.
Awesome.
So that we can use it. Let me make sure. Yeah, none of the other ones are on. So cool. Look at that.
Oh, miniature showcase. We might need something behind that.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll put something behind it.
Because if I wear another colorful shirt like this,
you won't be able to see it. Yeah, you're right. It's true. So thank you to everybody who's been participating in the group. Excitingly, we have over 2,100 members.
Fantastic.
Which is cool. We reached, obviously, 2,000 just a little while ago, but now we're over. We have 100
2,100?
Yeah.
Awesome.
2,100. So
hooray!
That's been just an exciting little journey.
Good work, everybody.
It's been really fun. It's always a good place to hang out.
Yep.
And see what people are doing. That's why she gets the big bucks. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, they're big bucks?
I agree with Jez and Dave. Yay, good work, everyone. And they were awesome. I agree. Yep. Everybody has been putting out some good
working
paint.
Hard and painting some
It's always
cool
fun to
minis.
see what people are working on it. And honestly, there are people who don't post in the on the miniature showcase post, but they're still posting in the group, so it's definitely worth your while to hang out there for a little while.
Yep.
And see what other people are doing, because
And check what everybody's up to.
there are some really cool projects.
Definitely.
Yeah. And actually, just yesterday or today, I saw someone post about I think they said that they were from Bolivia.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Yep.
And they were painting a mini for their first mini competition.
Okay.
So
excellent.
it was a Space Marine.
Oh, yeah. I did see
Yeah.
that. That was, I think that was posted Yesterday.
Yesterday. Then it must have been yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Definitely neat.
So what are you working on with your... Are you still kind of laying down base colors, or...?
No, I'm onto the highlighting
Okay.
now. So I went through and I shaded the skin. There's a lot that won't show up until it probably goes on the spinner.
Okay.
Because it's just... we'll just need to go like that. But, yeah, so I'm just doing some highlighting now. I'm taking the charred brown and a little bit of dwarf skin. Probably 3 parts to 2 charred to dwarf skin. Just working back and forth, and then coming in and doing some highlights on the musculature. So give me basically a pass across everything with that first, and then I can go back and concentrate on the sort of the higher areas to get a little bit more contrast there by mixing in a little bit more of the dwarf skin, and then I'll probably mix in a little bit of what do you call it, ivory.
To bring that highlight up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I can be a bit more focused with that.
Sometimes with these miniatures, it's just about pushing them around until you figure out where they go and being like, oh, that's where they go.
Oh, the part?
Yeah, the parts
Right.
when assembling. Like it doesn't have glue on it.
Right.
It's like I sometimes need to, even though they have an instructional, I just need to put the piece
Right.
where it says.
Yep.
Or where it goes first.
And that's fine. That's called dry fitting.
Yes, I do a lot of dry fitting.
So, yeah, absolutely, absolutely worth doing that. Without a doubt. Okay. Just realised I should probably paint the hooves quickly.
It would behoove you.
It would behoove me. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Josh. Oh, Leona. But then I can come back and I might do the horns, and then I can focus on the highlighting on the skin and get this face done as well.
Oh, Lava Painter says, this is the first time in ever I have been painting every night for at least 2 to 3 hours a night. And so far I'm feeling really great about this model. Ooh.
Excellent.
I'm excited. That's why I've been posting a lot. Oh, yeah, because, oh my goodness, yeah, I saw Lava Painter's picture with the scales.
Okay.
Ayumi's.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I saw those, definitely. Very cool.
It was amazing. And yes, Josh says, make sure your group notifications are on. I love seeing the stuff come across all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
It is a cool place. No, yeah, I've been loving seeing the work on your monster model. It's been really good.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, all of the scale work has been super cool. But,
also, what's fun is I think you can get inspiration from what other people are doing too, because you see them. It's not like you're stealing their techniques. It's more that you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I could try that on my model.
My model.
Or even as you said, like the color thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like looking and seeing what colors work.
Yeah, what color schemes, where people are putting their highlights, what the effects that's giving them. Yeah, all of that sort of stuff. It's definitely good to do. So.
I really wanted to make this tiny little lantern hang on one of these antlers.
Right.
Oh, I found it. I found which one it can hang on.
Cool.
Be excited, everyone.
It was one of those things where you're like, yeah, my hands are large and I don't like doing fine detail work, so I'm going to find the finest piece of detail that I can do on this model.
Yes.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yes. Secret weapon for multi-part figures, poster tack.
aka blue tech.
Yep. That's your, so that's the new dry fitting idea.
Oh, okay.
So when you have like just a small number of pieces, you can kind of
Right.
hold them all together, make sure they're in the right spot. But when you've got
Gotcha.
multiple pieces, like when you've got like 4 or 5 or 6
Yeah.
pieces, yeah, using a strong poster tack can really help that.
There's a bell.
Yep,
Where does the bell go?
wherever you want. Around his neck. Is it like a cowbell? This model needs more cowbell.
More cowbell. Ting, ting, ting.
I think that could work for you.
I'm thinking I maybe will put it at the edge of at the bottom of his axe.
Okay.
Oh, and I just noticed his axe has a like a maze
Like
or a labyrinth on it.
okay.
The pattern, if you look at the pattern on the axe,
Right.
it kind of looks like a maze.
Okay. It doesn't have it on this one. It's disappointing. Oh.
Oh yeah, this one it doesn't. This
No.
one it does.
You saying I chose poorly?
Well, now that I
well.
know that that two-handed axe is called like a Labyrinth or whatever, I mean,
Yep.
like, yeah.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Somebody was paying attention at the somebody at Wizkids.
Yeah, actually they were. James is working on the ship figurehead, and it is big.
Oh, cool.
There's a saying, good artists borrow, great artists steal. Yeah, I think Warhol said that.
Not originally. Somebody else said it originally.
True, probably. Sean said next thing I'll be working on is the Severith, or the Underworld's Beastman.
Okay, cool.
You can also put a little blob of blue tack on the end of a stick to help position small pieces that are hard to hold while your glue sets.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
I have not used that before, but I can totally see it working. Good one, Josh. Okay, work a little bit of the ivory into the sand yellow that are going on for the hair. Don't think I'm going to get the armor or the axe done tonight, so I don't want to rush those. Just want to focus on these other bits. So,
Are you going to go fairly traditional with your axe?
I'm not sure. I think I'll have to have a look at it and work it out. You mean as far as like just do a metal axe with the
Correct.
wooden haft?
Yeah.
The haft definitely does look wood. It's got great sort of wood grain in there. And yeah, I think
It does have a lot of wood grain.
Yeah, I think I will go fairly traditional in there. I might throw a little bit of some of this yellow into the highlight of the wood, and some of the purple into the shading on the axe. Keep the color palette pretty limited. Yeah, that could be interesting. But I think one of the things I need to do next after highlighting this hair is it's on the fur that he's got at the top of the thighs and sort of the top of the top of his calves there, or the shins. I might come back and just hit them with a little bit of brown wash just add a little bit of extra depth in there. It's great texture in there, but I don't really need to highlight it. It's kind of at the highest level that I want it to be, so shading it is the way to go.
That makes sense.
And of course it's got that texture, the wash will help pull that out. Yeah, sometimes that can be a difficult sort of decision to make, because it's like, okay, well, I've done the shading, I need to do the highlighting and the highlighting and the highlighting, so you kind of get stuck in an approach.
In the highlighting circle.
In the highlight, yeah, what's the upward spiral?
Oh.
And you're like, well, the only thing I need to do is highlighting. All highlighting from here.
And then you're just
Yeah.
smashing white onto your model, and you're like, oh, that's the highest highlight.
I'm done. Can't do any more.
It's light.
Yep.
Blinding light.
But if you started from like ivory, then
Right.
you're not going to have that
Yeah.
depth that you want. So yeah, I think it's important to go back and forth and make sure that you've got everything where you want it to be. And so using this like blonde hair on him, so it just really gives it a bit of a Scandinavian feel. It's a Scandinavian like death metal Minotaur.
Minotaur. You know what's a little sad is this like icon thing doesn't really fit the way I glued him.
No.
It doesn't fit if you put him in the feet.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
What are you going to do? What's your
I'm just gonna
solution
keep.
be?
I'm gonna keep it off.
Okay.
And then, especially since it would fit better in front of the model,
Okay.
but I want to paint him, so I won't glue.
Right. So paint it separately and then glue it on.
Yeah,
Everything. Right.
I think that's what I'll do.
Yeah. Yep. When you're saying the icon thing, you mean like the tree?
Yeah,
Pillar with
I meant
the pillar with the
pillar with the antlers.
antlers and stuff, right?
Yeah,
And the lantern hanging.
and the hanging. Yeah, mine has a hanging lantern
Super important.
because to help the lost people
Help guide
find
the way.
their way in the labyrinth.
Find their way directly to the Minotaur.
To the Minotaur, yeah. So I think at the end, ideally, I would kind of put it in front of him. But I don't want to actually glue that because then I won't be able to paint him.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do something
Sprued and glued.
that some folks might not have seen before. I'm going to take.
Well, let's click
If you
you
can-
then.
If you can zoom me out a little bit.
Yep. Yes, sirree, Bob.
So I've got some charred brown here, and I could normally sort of just thin it down with some water, and that would work as a bit of a wash in these upper thigh areas here. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of, is actually thin it down with a little bit of Scigirl Brown.
Do you feel like this would be a tip of the week?
Tip of the week?
Do you feel
Oh,
like
do you have a
this would
graphic
be-
for tip of the week?
Do you feel like this would be the tip of the week?
Tip of the hat?
Tip of the hat? Tip of the week?
Tip of the week? Sure. Why not? This can be tip of the week.
Cool.
So rather than just thinning with water or thinning with a clear medium,
Okay.
like a matte medium or whatever, you can thin with washes or things that are already thin. So you can
Oh, I see
mix
what
in-
you're saying.
So you can mix in a brown wash with your brown paint, or you can mix in a black wash with your brown paint.
Right.
You can mess around with them and just use sort of different things that they will give you. So I've got Scigirl Brown here, which is a contrast paint. So it's a fairly dense contrast paint, but adding it into the charred brown adds a little bit more red
Right.
to the
Okay.
charred brown, without going too red by just adding like flesh tower red contrast paint.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's a subtle little transition, and I mixed quite a bit more water in there because it is a fairly dense contrast paint, and then just by painting it at the top of the thighs there, that gives a little bit more definition around those areas of the fur around those areas. And what I'm going to do is just get just a little bit of mostly clean water, and I don't know if you can quite see that, but it's going to use that to draw the paint down, so thin it in. So sort of thinning it on the model, which kind of might seem like a strange thing to do, but will help you bring that stuff down into the texture of the fur. So it gives a little.
You're kind of pushing the liquid into the.
Kind of drawing it in, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
by having water on the brush, and it basically gives another area for that. It helps the paint that's, or the wash that's up the top here, flow into the rest of it.
Right.
So it'd be like taking this on my palette.
You can kind of push it.
Getting a big.
Yep.
Yep. So this area on my palette. Yep. So if I put a whole bunch of water next to that, which so kind of clear at the moment, and then just linking it, it starts to flow across into that area of water.
Oh, right.
Kind of
Yep.
thing. So
Yep.
just doing that kind of thing on there, so you get a bit of a nice sort of ombre.
And if you have enough control, you can actually do that on your model.
On the Mini, yep. It's working quite well on here because it's a very textured sort of area. So it's flowing into the sort of through the crevices. I think if it was a larger, flatter area, it wouldn't work quite as well. I think
Yeah, are you doing it right on his leg?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's very muscly.
Oh no, doing it like on his fur. Like,
Oh, you're doing it on his fur?
yeah, the top of the thighs and the top of the
Gotcha.
calves. Or actually, it's not the top of the calves, it's around the ankle, down onto the foot,
Okay.
just because of the way that the legs work.
Yeah, because he has like animal legs.
Yeah.
Hence the Minotaur.
So there we go. What time have we got? We have 8:49, so I have a little bit of time here. Just thinking what colour I should do the horns. I don't know.
The horns?
Yeah.
I mean, you could kind of give them a purplish undertone if you wanted. Yeah. Like, they wouldn't be purple, but like you could do, you know how normally they'll do like brown to bone?
Yep.
You could do like purple to
Purple to
bone.
bone. Possibly.
Too magical.
Magical horns.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to actually try. I'm going to start with black, and I think I might highlight with purple.
Oh, okay.
Just so that it's a very, it's a much darker tone than the skin. The skin's fairly dark, but it'll give me a chance to go back and do a little bit more highlighting on the face. One of the things as well that you can see me doing is I know that the handles are designed to stop you from touching the model, but I'm using my
Oh, I forgot.
finger to anchor on the on his horn there.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
painting the other horn, so I can get in nice and
Dark horns.
close.
That's what Jess says.
Dark horns. Yeah.
Dark horns. I think that a trail of Reese's Pieces would be a more effective trap. That's fair.
Yep.
It's a trap.
I think that's gonna work quite nicely. Have where are you up to on the...
Mr. Minotaur?
Oh, yeah. Oh, is he fully assembled?
So yeah, he's fully
cool.
assembled.
Excellent. And see him. There's a whole bunch of stuff in between us.
Yeah, it's true. Let me, actually, I'll set the...
You put him on the spinner?
Yeah, the spinner up.
Cool. So again, it's towards the end of the show. We've gone quiet because we're focusing.
Focused.
Yep. So yeah, a little bit of purple tinge in here is going to work well, I think. And this has also helped to see where some parts that I missed in between that. The face and the horns. So you come in and highlight those. And try and get some very sharp highlights on this face. Sharp highlights on a bovine face.
Yeah, and they don't
Always
really
easy.
have...
It's a lot of slab side, like
Yeah.
slab shapes for cows, but what do we got going on here? Okay. But yeah, I think it's starting to look pretty neat. One thing as well, actually I might be able to show this when we get a chance. So what we can do, I'm going to look for my Grax Earthshade. It's hiding in here. Oh, that's my Nuln Oil.
Drink it.
I'm not drinking Nuln Oil. That stuff's valuable. Did I not put it? I didn't put it in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show a little bit. This has been another tip about glazing. So if I'm painting, doing some highlighting here on the on his skin, and if I go a bit too bright, sort of too large an area like that. Which can you see that? Yep, just there.
Yeah.
I need to put that paper in front of me again. What I can do afterwards is just again thin down some of the. I use some of that Scigirl Brown, not a lot of it, a little bit of Scigirl Brown and quite a bit more of the charred brown. Thin that and paint that over that area. And what that'll do, that'll start to tie that, it'll sort of put a tint over that highlight and start to tie it back into the base color that I've got going on there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a great thing to do if you put a highlight that's too light onto it. Is you can do a glaze to bring that back down. If it's really super light, you can do a couple of glazes to start to bring that back. But yeah, there we go.
He's looking swell.
So, and now we can have a look at your dude. Oh, I didn't realize that the axe was up.
Yes.
That's cool.
So yeah, when he comes around, you'll see the thing that I was talking about where it has like, yeah, the lines.
It has, oh yeah, on the axe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, he's just
Nice little nod
just
there.
did the, assembling and gluing today, and then later on in the month, someone will be painting this. It might be me, it might be someone else. We'll see.
Yep.
But yeah, he has two-handed axe.
Right. Yep.
He's a beast, a labyrinth, Labries. Yep.
Labyrinth wielding
Yep.
labyrinth dwelling, Labyrinth wielding
Yep.
Minotaur.
But yeah, it's a great mini. I like it.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Okay. I'm gonna pop my guy there as well.
Woohoo!
So there we go.
Let me zoom. Let me change the zoom.
Oh,
I think that gets it a little bit more. There we go.
very cool. So there we go.
Nice.
We can see that. There we go. So you start to see that purple under there, but it's fairly it's fairly subtle though.
Yeah.
It's not super garish. Cool. Just Hunt says non-oil raw. That's a mixer. It's a mixer. Josh says, are those different horns than Dave's figure? Yes, they are.
Yeah, actually they are. So there were two different heads. As we said, Dave, you can't see it on the screen, but Dave went for the model that was on the front of the box, and the other head is the one that I put on there.
Yep.
His mouth isn't opened, but it has the longer horns.
Yep. And you can also see that the hair is different.
Yeah, the hair is different.
Yep.
That hair is actually like more fur textured, and
Yep.
your hair is actually like locks of
Yep.
hair.
Long, straight, blonde hair. Or whatever colour you want to paint it.
Same tail.
Yeah, same tail. Nobody's paying attention to the tails.
I thought it would be fun if you could like flip the tail to have it go the other way.
Yeah. But he could put strings on his axe and that long blonde hair, and he's ready to eat his rock and roll. He is indeed. Great, so you painted, looks great. I like it. Framework, so many options. Yep. I don't want to milk the cows today. But yes, definitely cool. Yeah, the axe needs to have a red glowing dot painted in the maze. You are here. Awesome. But yeah, so you can see those, now that's up on the screen there, you can see those things I was doing,
Oh yeah, I
sort of
really
shading
see
on
the shading on the fur.
Yep.
Wow, that looks really good. And then how you left it light on the
sort of
bottoms
towards
of
the ends
yeah,
of it. Yeah.
the ends of it.
So and that was just some very rough overbrushing on the texture there. That's the alarm to let us know that it's time to close the
It's
show.
9 o'clock.
But yeah, so
And you can even
Lots
see
of
the
fun there.
purple in the joint, in that
yep,
joint right
down
there.
Yeah, I put quite a bit more purple into the shading on the legs. Kept it fairly subtle. You can see it a little bit under the arms as well in those darker areas.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
So will you be doing any purple on the yellow or the ivory?
No, on the hair.
Yeah.
No, I won't
Okay.
do anything in there. I think I don't know. Maybe it does look a little bit like a wig at the moment, so maybe I should try
Well,
some.
obviously, yeah. I know you'll go back and
Yeah.
kind of blend it all together, but I just was wondering if you had an idea of what color you would tie that. The brown would.
Probably the brown.
The brown will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably run some brown up that. But yeah, in that case, I'd run the brown from the bottom of the hair to sort of separate, have it feel like it's separating those strands.
Oh, okay.
And it'd
yeah.
just be closer up at the top. And it's got a little bit of a part going on, and that's just where the pieces of the plastic come together.
Right.
But yeah, I think that could be good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And I think because I've got a lot of the skin's got a bit of that orange feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
and that ombre got some orange. I think in the leather of the belt and the patterges, I'd probably go with like a coal black, go with that blue green
Oh,
kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And Initially, I was thinking I'd go orange, but
Right. And interestingly, on the box, they have gold
Yep.
and black.
Yep. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely cool.
These are fun minis.
Fun
So
sculpts.
we will continue to paint the Minotaur minis. And throughout the rest of the month, we'll also look at some other Frameworks minis. We have the Evil Hag and also the Hill Giant. So be thinking about and telling us which ones you would like us to paint.
Let's do the Evil Hag.
The Evil Hag, yeah. I've kind of thought that it would be fun to do the Evil Hag.
Yeah.
She's a very fun model. She's not as diverse as the Minotaur model, but I think there's a lot more variation in how you could paint her.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
And I think the Hill Giant would just be another big fleshy model.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just another fleshy model.
That's why I'm thinking variety. But yeah,
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hag!
Death Metal Minotaur. Just Dave Hummel. Purple Shade. Oh my glaive, Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. Purple Shade. Oh my glaive. Hairband Minotaur. Cowboy Wanted Dead or Alive.
Wanted Dead or
Fantastic.
Alive. To be continued, yeah. So Dave will continue painting up his miniature, and either I or someone else will be painting the mini that I built for next week. So thank you all for joining, painting Happy Little Minis, and just being with us in the chat. It's always fun. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.